just to start again, thank you for joining us. And you're in Texas now. Are you in Houston or Austin?
I'm in Austin.
Okay.
This is a virtual background, but I'm out of my office here at home and always close to the Capitol to be able to respond to any issues.
Yeah, very cool. It's a little more humid out that way than it is here, but nonetheless,
It
it's
is.
hot.
Oh yeah. I was just sharing, man. I was in Houston. It was 100 degrees, and with that humidity on the coast, it's a different 100. It's a
Yeah,
different 100.
it hits you. You walk outside and you can't breathe in it. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I'm used to the humidity up there in the Northeast. So,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
down here for work now, but it's been really, really cool. And just to, learn about Texas as a whole. It is completely, when they say it can be its own country, it really can be. I mention it, and I think this is where, you and I can start. West Texas, I believe, I haven't lived anywhere else outside of San Angelo, but the pride of West Texas, it carries this entire state. I mean, there's a pride factor out here that I can't explain it to anybody back home unless you're in it. You just don't understand it.
That's right. The Bush family has a long heritage in West Texas. My dad was born in Midland. My Uncle George still celebrates his childhood heritage in Midland as well. When my grandfather left his military service after World War II, came out to the oil patch to chase the American dream, like a lot of Texans and people from all over the world do to this day. And my wife's originally from San Angelo, so I know all about great West Texas values. And you're right, it's the foundation of good Texas living.
We'll get to you running for attorney general here in a moment, but you're bringing up your family, and I just want to touch. There has been ample opportunity for you to just use your name in the political office and run and just take off. I saw somewhere doing a little research, your grandmother made a comment to you that you needed to start from the bottom and do everything else that everybody else has done, the regular American, rather than just run for, say, governor or hop in somewhere in DC. So touch on that a little bit on your background. I mean, you've won everything you've run for, you've won and quite large. So just talk about that a little bit. You really have built the foundation for yourself in your political career.
Well, thank you for that. My grandmother, we will miss. Barbara Bush was certainly the backbone of the Bush family, wore the pants, so to speak, and was known as the Silver Fox. We're going to miss her a lot. Her advice I took to heart, and I was all about starting young in terms of working hard. She encouraged me to get my first job, which was as a janitor in a real estate company, and that's how I learned about the business from the ground up before I eventually went into the private sector and started several businesses. After marrying a great San Angeloan, had the opportunity to serve in our nation's military. Got my commission in 2010, served in Afghanistan as part of Operation Enduring Freedom, and I've carried my experiences in the business sector and in the military to the public sector as the land commissioner, where we manage not only oil and gas rights for the school children of Texas, but protect military veterans, making sure they get the benefits that they've earned from their service. Now, as I look at this run for Attorney General, I want to draw upon my experiences in the public, private sector, and also in the military, because we need a lead prosecutor that's confronting the big challenges of our state. First, securing our border. Second, backing the thin blue line because law enforcement's under attack on our streets. Number 3 is confronting human trafficking. And number 4 is restoring morale, accountability to this important agency.
Touch a little bit on the border, sir, if you can. President or former President Donald Trump, it will be down here June 30th with Governor Abbott, and it's a big talker. Right? I feel like it's been our lead here to talk about quite a bit over the last 2-3 weeks now. What's some of the ideas, some of the plans, some of your input on moving forward? I know Governor Abbott mentioning that he is full on ready to go and continue to build that wall.
Well, you're absolutely right, Tim. This is the priority really for the federal government, or at least it should be for the Biden administration, but we're seeing that they don't really consider this a priority. But for the state of Texas, I think any elected official would agree that securing your communities, especially in the border, are absolutely essential. So the governor yesterday made an announcement that Texas will build its own wall. And here at the land office, we will contribute 250,000 acres that are at or near border lands in Texas. That's a lot of acreage. And we're now working with the Texas Facilities Commission, which will be the point agency to construct a wall. There's a lot of work ahead of us. There's a lot of potential litigation, but we're excited that we're going to actually secure the communities, and Texas will lead based upon its independent can-do attitude. Secondly, I'll just share with you, Tim, that I'm assessing a potential suit against the Biden administration because there is a law. I won't disclose the strategy of the lawsuit, but it would compel the federal government to actually spend the dollars that were appropriated by Congress to finish the Trump wall. Trump wall would have constructed about 700 miles, about 540 ended up getting either rehabbed, reconstructed, or a brand new wall. And so there's a lot of, I've had a chance to tour the border myself many times, and I've seen unfinished Trump wall literally laying on the ground and human traffickers coming over, including on state lands where we just got a report 1,500 migrants came through in Stark County in Rio Grande City on a daily basis. So we're seeing a historic surge, unlike what we've witnessed in past cycles and generations.
I think you bring up a good point. I was going to ask if you've been down there or if you plan on heading down to the border. But no matter what side you lean on, these numbers are just astronomical daily. Something that at some point has to change, no matter what gets done and how it happens. That can't continue.
Totally. I mean, starting in March, we saw over 170,000 apprehensions on a monthly basis, and then it escalated to a projection of 200,000 this month alone. Border Patrol officials tell me, and I've been to most of the areas of responsibility on our southern border in Texas that ranges from El Paso to the Rio Grande Valley, and they tell me that the summer months usually are the worst in terms of apprehensions and interactions with illegals. That doesn't include the people that get away and blend into society. So that number actually adds to the already 12 million that are estimated that live and reside in our country illegally. So you're right. This should be a bipartisan issue. This is a national security issue. It's a federal issue. They need to do their job, but it's of state concern because the state of Texas is already absorbing about $1 billion and then untold amounts of costs as it relates to healthcare and education in our state. So we got to lock arms, come together on this issue, and hopefully Kamala Harris will come down to the border. I know we're coming up on 100 days.
Let's get to your running for Attorney General. First off, congratulations on the announcement. It's exciting, right? I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's taken off a life of its own. Some are saying that you were running up, you've been a supporter openly of Trump. Some are saying you're running up against somebody that Trump has had support for and has his back. Some are saying, well, why isn't George P. Bush why wouldn't he wait, right? Wait a little bit longer and just talk a bit about through your thought process and what led you to go ahead and do it now.
Well, my priority this legislative session was on the land office agenda, but when it became clear that 8 of Ken Paxton's top lieutenants were bringing allegations ranging from bribery to corruption to abuse of office, I found it very concerning. And so I think back to the days of Ronald Reagan in 1976 in the wake of Watergate, that he, despite all odds, ran as an outsider who was relatively unknown at the time against a sitting incumbent president of the United States, Gerald Ford. And he did so because he believed that Republicans should have a choice. I think Texas is the greatest state in the greatest country the world has ever seen. And there should be an alternative if voters in our party decide that, hey, we want a lead prosecutor that's focusing on these important issues, but not under criminal investigation and bringing endless amounts of scandal to this important office. So I'm armed with a law degree, experience in the public-private sector, and also in the military, and ready to work for Texans. And by the way, at the land office, I've won cases against the Obama administration. And next week, I'll have an announcement on my new lawsuit against the Biden administration.
Excellent. I think it brings up another point that, I read somewhere that you had quoted saying you're running because Texas, you've got to keep it red, right? This is a chance for you to give the Republicans, give conservatives a choice. And you brought that up just moments ago. So I think it's a smart move. It's a political, it's a game. At the end of the day, it's business, correct? And you're going to do what's best for the people of Texas, and your family has done that. And it's no secret you're going to continue to do that as well.
Well, regretfully, Ken was the lowest. And look, we've been friends for a while, but he was the lowest vote getter last time around. He almost lost to an open borders Democrat, even though he outspent him 2-1 in the last race. And I'm a proven vote getter. I was a top vote getter in 14 and 18. I know how to reach out to the Hispanic community, reach out to independents, Democrats on conservative ground. And I want to do that in November of 22. Because the Democrats are all in on this race. They view Ken as the weak link. They know that he was the lowest vote getter. And if they put a little bit of money behind Mayor Jaworski over in Galveston, that they got a chance at this thing. So I'm out there offering my solutions, my ideas, my vision. And I'm excited about what this race is going to bring.
Is the end goal to end up in the governor's office or maybe even further? Is that something you've thought about well before this without disclosing, future plans? But at the end of the day, I think that's a huge goal, right?
Well, the end goal is the Attorney General's office. I mean, this is an important office. You look at the next 2 years, the Biden administration in less than 150 days has reversed our state's economy and our way of life. The Supreme Court just put out a great ruling to defend religious liberty under the First Amendment, which I applaud. Being a Catholic myself, Catholic organizations have done wonders to lift children out of poverty. and understand that the exercise of religious liberty is important in our country. So defending the Constitution, fighting for Texas values, man, that's what it's all about. And I'd have enough on my plate in the next 2 years against the Biden-Harris administration.
It is different here too. It just is. There's, again, unless you live here, you just can't explain it.
Well, Tim, we love you, man. We'll adopt you anytime as a native Texan. You know,
appreciate
as you know,
it.
a lot of folks are moving in from all over the country, and
Yeah.
there's a reason why, because our values are solid. They're based upon our religious beliefs and our family structure, and we run our government on a limited basis. We don't believe government is the solution to all of our problems, and so it's very simple. Nothing exciting about it, but it works.
For sure. Lastly, you're speaking to the viewer here in West Texas. You mentioned your wife being from San Angelo. You're elected Attorney General. You know, give West Texans just a little sigh of relief and hope. What's something that you would do out here, you know, this side of I-35?
So in West Texas, oil and gas and defending the industry is absolutely paramount. And at the land office, I have brought successful litigation against the Obama administration when he utilized the Endangered Species Act to try to shut down oil production on state lands. And the state lands generate billions of dollars for public education in Texas. So I would bring that experience on day one to this office as Attorney General and making sure we're defending this industry. Number two is making sure we have safe communities. A lot of West Texas communities ranging from El Paso to San Antonio, San Angelo, Midland, Odessa are familiar with the illegal immigration crisis. So making sure that we're holding deadbeat bureaucrats accountable. You'll see that in my lawsuit next week. But I would continue that work and making sure that the governor's vision for constructing and finishing the Trump wall gets done and defending that in court, because those lawsuits will be coming. Finally, I would just offer, Tim, that human trafficking is one of the fastest growing crimes in our state. Yes, it's tied to illegal immigration, but young women in Texas are being sold increasingly online. The trade is now digital, utilizing cryptocurrencies and whatever other methods out there, but yet law enforcement is falling further and further behind. Texas is close to California in terms of total reported cases, and Houston is a big hub. So you need an attorney general that's focusing on those issues with original jurisdiction that are bringing prosecutions against seasoned criminal networks. And I'm ready to take that mission on.
Yeah, it's certainly a tall task that you bring that up. The access here is too easy, right? The border, it's too big. Texas is too large. So yeah, you know, that's certainly something that's really a key important note here in Texas.
Absolutely. There's almost 2,000 total miles on the U.S.-Mexican border. Texas roughly has half that. What Border Patrol agents, and by the way, they did endorse me in this race, the union known as the National Border Patrol Council, because of my national security background, say that half of all of the nation's immigration roughly is in the state alone, and a good portion is in the Rio Grande Valley. But as soon as the cartels are able to surveil our assets and see where we're focusing our attention, they're finding new ways and diversions, leveraging everything from technology to UAVs. And so we've got to counter this threat, be more serious about it. As a veteran in Afghanistan, I almost view this really as a national security threat on our back door. And we got to do a better job and be more serious about it.
Well, we can't thank you enough. First off, thank you for your service, continued success. And if you're next time out here in San Angelo, I'd love to have you in studio and as Attorney General. That'd be something, right?
Absolutely, buddy.
All right. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.